to be addressed as well, or do we think that perhaps just pick Sion and it's going to be fine? NONGSHIM likely going to be banning that one away as we dive into the draft here. The first ban against
BDD's Rise.
The 7-1 Rise for BDD's most played champion. An understandable ban here. I find it so interesting, Wolf, that his lowest win rates this season are that champion right there, the Azir, that he's most known for, the Galio, which back in the day he was most known, and Orianna.
Yeah.
Like these three champions, and then there's like one more that he hasn't won a game on, and there are some lower sample sizes, but it just shows BDD has certainly been playing for an incredibly long time.
I love this ban here on the Pantheon, but this does leave a lot open. The AD carry meta as well, we're seeing a big shift away from the Varus early picking that we've been seeing. It's usually much later in the draft that we're seeing that one now, where topside just gets completely decided first. Could be a consideration here, though. The Taliyah also a strong pick here for BDD, even with the Azir ban. The Sion's taken away from Perfect, which I think forces a Rumble ban into this third slot, and that might give Gio the opportunity to play the Kalista. That might be what he's angling for here if they wanted to first pick it. The problem is if you go for that on blue side, they can take the Renata away from you, and Peter loves to play that Nico counter pick, so I feel like this is just a pretty easy Rumble ban if you're KT ROLSTER.
Unless you think that the Ornn is good enough into it. And a lot of teams have been gravitating towards that. The Gwen could be taken away. The Poppy is the decision.
I feel like they just slam Rumble here and say, yeah, Ornn is...
Yeah, Ornn's fine, but I'm kinging, yeah.
And I'm just going to generate a massive lead, and Perfect's lane stats are going to look like the average.
Taliyah is up.
Taliyah is up.
Oh, God.
And you don't want to give that to BDD, but I think giving it to Calyx and giving Perfect the Rumble in this situation feels like a worse choice. They're just going to go for the Gwen straight up here. Perfect has a choice if they do lock this to go either the Jace into this, which has looked pretty strong, or the Rumble a lot of teams have opted for. And this is going to force Perfect to make that difficult decision.
Yeah, this is a tough one, and
he doesn't have to make it now, of course.
Yep, KT ROLSTER could take Rumble Taliyah if they'd like to.
They could just go Taliyah Xinjiao and feel pretty good about it.
Yeah, that's another option.
And then save that Rumble for the third pick, potentially get some additional information here since the Gwen is already face up and not flexible. Surprised to see Trundle instead, but Cuz has been having such a great time on this pick. And they pick Sejuani into it! That's not it!
Well, it's Gwen, Sejuani, Yone. As far as like a top trio, that's pretty powerful. Sometimes you do need to look over the other side of the map, though, because not only is Trundle extraordinary into Sejuani, but the Rumble-Trundle combo is going to be coming in on top of it.
Yeah.
And they're already so incredibly short range. This cooks that, like literally.
I feel like this is a bit of a flub here for NONGSHIM, really prioritizing the Permafrost synergy over the fact that Subjugate is just going to... I mean, it has trashed so many Sejuanis since Trundle became meta over the last few weeks. And while I do think if you cover the KT draft with your hand, it looks great.
Yeah.
We have to consider that. Now, I do like this Senna ban. Senna has been the bane of some of these lower range compositions. And we don't know what the AD carry is going to be here, of course, for Duckdom just yet, but removing that does shore up some of the problems that the draft of NONGSHIM does have, and you know that it could have mitigated with that pick. Senna gone, the Elise gone as well.
And this is such a worry, because now Peter gets to play either Alistair or the Rakan if you'd like to, or is Nico. You could also pick that one up, could hold people on top of the equalizer with that one. NONGSHIM realizing that there are just too many things to take away, they decide instead to get rid of the Kalista. Take that one away from Duckdom, one of his better champions.
He can play Varus here, or he could just go for something super safe and lock in the Ezreal and just try to buy space, because there's so much that they can use to either play safe Ezreal or long-range Varus here and just sit back and poke and allow the front line here to do the work. It's not a tanky front line per se, but the Trundle will become tanky. You have pillars to disrupt the engages as well.
Man, KT's composition is getting real scary. Considering a Jhin here, and I have no qualms. Like you say, you covered what KT has, and NONGSHIM's draft looks fine. You know, you have Jhin for the follow-up on these melee carries that are going to be going in to try and lock down these kills. The amount of augmentation that you have, Deadly Flourish, fantastic. Starting up these fights, Lahen's on a lot of engage in this Rel. But Peter gets Alistair.
You pick the Rel into the Alistair. I feel like the composition here from NONGSHIM is one that is bread and butter for them, right? Gideon loves his Sejuani. Calyx has been a very good Yone. Kingan's a great Gwen. You have the Permafrost synergy there, and also you have Lahen's on engage, and there's a lot of
that KT has put together, right? The pillar gets so much done against so many of these champions. being able to control the battlefield against double melee carry topside of the map is just going to be a huge deal, but they're going to have to be playing well. And we know that KT, on any given day, you never know. Let's get into it.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is your road to MSI round 2. And already, Kingen is going to be walking out of a brush. Oh no, dashing forward. It's a little bit frightening. Some ghosts have been popped already. The hail of arrows doesn't connect, but the threaded volley does. Still, that is just getting a ghost.
Yeah, you can see on the other side of the map here, of course, Lehen's going to get some deep vision in here. So it's not without cost. See the backs here from Duckdom and Peter. They rush back towards the bottom lane, but we'll give NONGSHIM the advantage there on what's already a pretty strong level 1 with the Jhin and Rel. Feeling pretty good about that. Kingen has to take it back. Dropped his ghost, so end of the day, a relatively even trade here, assuming no accidents occur down in that level 1 in the bottom 2v2. They are, of course, on vision, clearing this blue buff, so full information goes over to NONGSHIM. I think if played perfectly here, NONGSHIM's comp can actually still crush this composition. It's just the execution burden is quite high, and based on what we saw in their final series of the regular season, that's the last real checkup we've had on this team. I'm not sure if they will necessarily be up to the task. But like you said, a lot of comfort here across the board on both teams.
Well, there's a crash down as NONGSHIM starting things off pretty aggressively. Duckdom down to 50%, and Lehen's pretty happy to weather that storm. Ju was taking a bit of damage from Peter in the meantime. That is a bit of a victory here for NONGSHIM. And like you mentioned, it's a powerful bottom lane in the laning phase. ROLSTER not necessarily known for his level 1.
He does get to hold his heal. Lehen's dropping the Ignite, and now Jiu's health bar has been equalized. Level 2.
Yeah. And it's just going to be mounting up, walking towards them, but it looks like KT just going to seed this and look to catch it as it crashes in. So nothing too surprising here. And it should be KT able to just lick their wounds under the turret and be more than fine. Having a look at what they've been able to get from the deep vision, they know that Cuz started on his bottom side of the map, moving up towards that top side, and Gideon has been pretty comfortably full clearing his jungle as well. So haven't seen too much from the junglers just yet.
I do like the lethality Varus here for Duckdom going for the Comet. Pretty big tell that that will be the build path he is looking for here, considering the most tanky member will be the Sejuani, and she won't be that tanky when Trundle is in the picture.
Yep. As Calyx just not enjoying his time on the rocks, as he generally would.
BDD does like his, he enjoys a little Yone on the rocks.
Yes, yeah. He's not a neat kind of guy.
No.
Lehen's visiting, but isn't going to be able to find an angle here.
They are in full control of this bottom lane, by the way. Like, Peter is surfing around the brush, and, you know, there's just a lot potentially going to be lost here in this bottom lane, as Lens is really fishing for this.
Yeah.
And Cuz is here.
Yeah, Cuz going to move in. Calyx, health bar in
Peter?
a little bit of a rough spot.
Like, they're like, Lens is over here.
They're closing in, and there's the flash forward. Lens may have found the only window to get in there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The seismic shove pulls back the Rel. He's headbutted under the turret. He knows there is no way he's getting out of that one. The pulverized headbutt from Peter, beautifully done.
What a puzzling call, though, for Lens to stay that long.
I think he knew that, like, he was just dead if they checked it, and so he had to try.
Yeah, he had to try, but I think once they were coming up, he had to try for sure. Like, I completely agree, but he could have just opted out a long time ago. As BDD was playing so safe, and Peter 100% knew because they checked everything. He walked all the way around. He's like, Lens is in the middle, in the mid lane. He's hovering the river. I'm going to wrap around on Alistar. If he tries it, I'm going to headbutt him into the turret. BDD was super ready for this, and nothing is expended on the KT side. No summoners go down. BDD gets a free kill, and they read the play so well. Even Cuz was there.
Yeah. I'll correct you, though, Wolf. They used a heal.
Oh, true, yeah, they did heal.
Yeah, so they didn't use any flashes.
No flashes.
So it's actually like, yeah, almost free here for KT. Beautifully done. Secure themselves first blood. It only gets them about 400 gold in the lead. This composition from NONGSHIM wants mid-game to really start skirmishing and making things happen. And side lanes are going to be a big problem. Like, this composition can 1-3-1 really effectively, and that takes away some of the KT power as, oh dear. Perfect doing a pretty good job. His Game 2 Rumble performance yesterday was subpar. It
was not his best Rumble game.
And it was this exact matchup. It was not, that was the game where Xiu could have potentially just won the game by himself. He did not. but still.
He certainly had a lot of angles too.
He did.
Yeah, and did keep D+ very relevant. That was the Shiu versus BDD game.
That was.
But at the end of the day, in this one, Rumble looking a lot better for Perfect. As Kingan's already TP'd, he'll get his free back here. And this bottom lane started off okay for Gio and Lehens, right? They had the level 1 advantage, but it fell by the wayside. Then Lehens tried to make it a roam to turn things around, as we do have Gideon.
Yep, ulti coming in here from Calyx as well, as BDD puts some rocks down, wants to throw away Calyx, who does stun himself up, and the Winter's Wrath not going to do anything at all. Cuz moving in, only level 5, won't be able to subjugate the Sejuani just yet, and the flash does have to be expended. KT still holds on to all of theirs.
Perfect has his ultimate here. He's fishing for something, trying to actually look for a nuke onto Calyx, it looks like, but nope, just going to drop a ward, doesn't go any further than that, but gets a lot of vision down with that prio. Remember, Calyx flashed, BDD did not in that last exchange, so there's more advantages here for the side of KT ROLSTER.
Things definitely going from good to still fine here for KT. Their performance yesterday felt like a huge step up. So interesting saying that, right? Because it's, if you were someone coming in that just saw that this roster exists now and you were watching last year and you're like, oh, KT's in the road to MSI? Obviously they are. Like, Cuz is a really good player. BDD's amazing. These guys should be brilliant. They'd be wondering why Doctom's playing a little bit better this time around, but outside of that, I don't think you'd be too surprised about the performance of Cuz, for example.
No, definitely
But
not.
he definitely did not look this incredible in round 1.
I mean, in round 1, KT was on an insane losing streak.
Yeah.
And then they turned it around. And it was crazy.
Remember, this team only barely made it into the Legend group, and they beat Humble Life Esports.
Yeah, and almost beat Gen G, by the way.
Yeah. The Equalizer going to go down here as Kingan taking a few ticks
No
of it.
flash, he might just be dead here.
Oh dear, the heat is stacking up. The Flame Spitter, there it is! Solo kill for Perfect, and Peter is looking for something on the other side. BDD to catch up to him, and the flick back onto Lehens will spell the death of the Horse Pants Lady. That is going to be 3 kills for KT. The feats of warfare coming in. They are going strength to strength in this game.
KT have advantages everywhere now. The solo kill in the top lane. BDD's 2 kills early here. The lane advantage that Duckdom and Peter were able to get. They got a plate bottom side. I mean, it's 200 gold the advantage for Duckdom right now. We head into the lane swap here for Gio. I mean, the Drake is already KT's, and the full wave is in control of KT ROLSTER right now. They can choose whatever they want to do right now. They have full control over this game. And when we talked about the draft and the concerns about how hard it is to execute NONGSHIMs, the fact that KT have this much of a lead this early is very concerning.
Yeah, now it's a big worry. Gideon going to come on over. Does have his smite now on cooldown, but I believe had another charge. That's going to be coming up pretty soon.
They're just going to let the grubs go, it looks like here, with the back timing of the Rumble.
Yep. And we had triple Chemtech Soul yesterday. Ox isn't actually here at Lore Park today, so I'm a little bit worried. It may just continue. These Void Grubs going to be the first ones to go down as Lehens looks for a bit of an angle. That's a decent pulverize to try and help him out, but doesn't get Gideon over the wall, and Gideon is just going to take down the cow. So mispositioning there from Mr. Peter, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, there were 4 members of NONGSHIM on the top side there, and unfortunately for KT, they don't get any sort of cross map because of it. It's a bit of a greedy positioning there from Peter, just trying to see what was going on Grubs, get some additional information, is punished hard. So a big bounce back here for NONGSHIM. Yeah, it does even up the gold quite a bit, but the kill goes over to Gideon. So that's not great news if you're NONGSHIM, but it's at least a step in the right direction.
Yep, and the fact that they get the 3 grubs is also pretty fantastic for a composition that does want to play around side lanes just a little bit.
100%, that's a very valuable get. Perfect is having the game, man.
Oh my goodness, Kingan is not very safe inside his circle. Does have the Horse Lady coming up, as Perfect might actually get baited in here. There's the Equalizer. Lehens shows himself a little early, and Perfect doesn't seem too worried about it. He's just going to continue walking at this Gwen, and look at the wave state.
Yeah, look at the top
doomed.
lane as well. Like, Jin's coming down to try to bail out bottom side, but who's going to deal with the top wave? There's no TP for Kingan, who has to leave. The wave state is doomed. Top side is boom. Calyx is about to get solo killed.
KT just look better.
Are KT actually just...
No.
Are they just a good team, Atlas?
I don't know. I think KT are a team here in the LCK, and I'll leave it at that. I think we'll leave it at that. BDD unleashes his teleport, as I could have sworn, like, the most KT thing would have been if Lehens just comes over and Shattering strikes BDD and he just dies. That would have been the moment for that to happen. Maybe Chronicler was right. Maybe Caster Curses aren't actually real, as Peter's going to come down and just says hi. And he
just wants to get BDD a little bit of a back here so he doesn't get stopped by a flourish or something like that. Does have the TP. Has not had to flash this game. Has just been chilling and putting on that lane pressure with the early advantage that he has. It's kind of started to snowball a little bit. He'll be heading straight to the side lane. In fact, right now doesn't even need to use that TP. We'll have it for the dragon fight potentially here that breaks out in about 90 seconds. Now the bottom side is controlled by NONGSHIM. They're looking for a play here onto Perfect. It does have flash, but no equalizer. He needs some help here.
Yeah, Cuz moving into position, and they do have Gideon coming over. Peter spots out Lehens. And now they're looking for the angle. The Magnustorm connects onto two as Doctorm is the target. Peter's getting rid of the rest of them though. And it's only Lehens that was able to get on top of the AD carry. Chains of Corruption goes wide, and the unbreakable will of Peter is unfortunately going to be broken. As he does get a little bit of a headbutt off, but Jiu's still going to be able to take him down. Because Peter, a lot of experience alongside these NONGSHIM players. They get the better of him there.
Yeah. It's a really good shout. Ex-teammate of many of them. Well, ex-player of NONGSHIM. Yep. Bit of a different roster back then.
Yeah, Jiu was definitely there, though.
Yeah, and, you know, we did have him come in, like, during the effort days and all that, but Calyx here is a level down and is just going to straight up ult.
Yeah, he's going to have to get out of the way of this extraordinarily dangerous robot guy. Perfect is spacing beautifully. He is locked in today.
Oh, he really is, and he's got Swifties, and he's just chilling. Is this going to get a reaction out of Gideon? He may be baited, though.
I take it all back. Caster Curses are indeed real. As now Gideon's going to come in and look to see whether he can get at least a flash, and he does get that. Never mind the turnaround coming on in. The equalizer is pretty beautifully placed, but Gideon throws out the Glacial Prison. BDD create the positioning. Peter with the headbutt. Actually beautifully done. Separates Gideon from the rest of the two. They say, we'll take that. Look for some plates here off the back end.
Oh, the other side, though, Gwen going to be looking for some plates top side here as well with those 3 grubs. I think KT need to get a little bit more here. As, okay, they do have a teleport from Perfect that will stop that. So this actually works out really well. They use BDD's teleport, but because Perfect still has these, he can just answer that, and that is going to be the second dragon here from KT off of a side lane play. Sure, Peter died moments before, but the Drake wasn't up yet, so NONGSHIM couldn't capitalize it. Now to 2-dragon lead here. Let's find out what Soul. Another Chemtech.
See, I knew it. I knew it. He was right here on the broadcast yesterday, and 3 Chemtechs snuck through.
I swear every other patch.
There was no hope.
Every other patch, man, it's got to be bugged. Like,
yeah, it's very odd.
Like, on this patch, we have had nothing but Chemtech souls.
And you know what? It actually kind of makes Trundle really broken. Maybe that's why the Trundle priority has gone up, because everyone knows that there are just way too many Chemtech souls.
So this
was a perfect flash. Honestly.
Yeah, I like Gideon looking for the Glacial Prison onto Peter, but unfortunately BDD does have the TP. In live, Perfect is just getting away from a bit of aggression there from Kingen, but...
And wow.
Well,
is he getting a counter solo kill as the snip comes in? Not quite enough! Speaking of not quite enough, Calyx able to get himself out of there with a sliver of health, but Lehens, I don't think is going to be so lucky. He throws out the Magnet Storm to try and hold Peter in place, but the Unbreakable Will lasts just long enough. NONGSHIM just looking to take some plates here from the top side. They are NONGSHIM, they prefer to take bowls, but plates will have to do, even though the soup may not stick around.
Hey, sometimes I get a small little plate for my ramyun and, you know, grab the noodles out and hold the plate underneath.
If it's the noodles that you want to drain first, you know, then it's totally doable on a plate.
They're not going to win this race, though, I don't think. Even with the grubs, Trundle hitting that pretty hard. Equalizer gets dropped down here as well, they're not even going to get it. Nope. And bottom side, the turret does go over. That feeds of strength here to KT ROLSTER, and the advantages continue to stack up. It's a 2,000 gold lead. We've certainly seen bigger at 14 minutes, but I'm so concerned about what it means for team fights later on with this Trundle being such a big issue. And everyone else is an issue, right? This Yone is significantly behind. Like, Calyx is not able to side lane into BDD or Perfect. He's just getting focused here in this game. As you can see here, you know, while that play happened topside, Calyx, the house goes down, and it's a really good combo here from Peter. And he's just in a whole house of trouble, and then Lehens is the one who gets left out to dry.
And I don't know what the context was here. Maybe they knew that Lehens was in that brush, definitely, and snuck around, but maybe just pressing B was the real answer there from Lehens. Just stay in the brush and go home. Could have been the angle, because of course the Yone did manage to make it out. Still, hindsight 2020 and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think he wanted to maybe try to salvage the play, but unfortunately I don't think that one was going to be salvageable in any way.
Yeah.
Still nearly getting that turret on the top side of the map, but now in danger is Kingen.
Seen this play before, but this time Gideon's going to come on over. That is a seismic shove just to zone him out of the way. The tri-brush covered in rocks, not something that NONGSHIM wants to be face checking.
Perfect doesn't have his TP just yet, so this is a bit awkward here for KT. They are going to be a man down for this fight. I think giving this up is probably the correct call.
Yep, because can throw the pillar into this brush, make things frustrating, but they don't have a lot of vision. There are 5 people of NONGSHIM.
But see a steal.
Yeah, the rotation up is coming on through here as there's the knock up onto Cuz, and they just burst him down. No subjugation even available. As now Kingen dashing around the fight. BDD catches out Geo on the offside, and he just throws a huge rock at Lehens. Geo able to flash his way out, but BDD splashing after him. Doctom and Peter trying to keep themselves alive as Calyx starting to go bonkers in this Herald pit. And now Perfect has turned up. This Flame Spitter is so scary. 3 versus 2 as NONGSHIM look to run away. They did manage to get themselves a Rift Herald. There is a positive in this play, but the positives for KT are looking like they're better. 4-4-2 in advantage here for KT.
Oh man, I was so worried for KT in that moment that they were going to really overextend and trickle in to this fight, because look at where Rumble is on the minimap. He hasn't quite even hit the mid lane just yet. When Cuz goes in for a steal, doesn't get it, is just immediately blown up. Now a lot is used for this. Geo is zoned out, so this buys enough time for Perfect to come through. Lehens goes down to basically 0. BD is so fed that he could basically...
didn't even get the eye.
Yeah, no.
Gideon did though, so it's fine.
He does ultimately get it. Watch this peel here, by the way, from Peter. Knocks Calyx away, stuns him here, trying to give Duckdom some space, but once Calyx goes back to his soul, or sends his soul back to his body, I suppose you should say.
Yeah, something like that.
Death cap for Cutie and all that. He is going to eventually get pushed out, and then Kingen is isolated. So, big kills here for KT in the fight. They do pick up the eye, like you said. That's the one saving grace. They're going to drop it on this turret that was basically dead anyways, and KT are looking for a play here in mid.
Peter is just constantly going for these plays. Does get rid of the Gwen, who was running towards the cow. He's going to try and go for a little bit of a siege. I don't know whether they're going to be getting it here as Kingen's going to be moving in. Peter wanting to try and peel him as best he can. The headbutt's being utilized. The trample as well is so good at buying so much time. Needlework coming on through, but there it is. Chains of Corruption with the follow-up, and down goes the Gwen. The flash headbutt as Gideon is pulled out of position, and Peter dies. But he's always trading up.
Oh man, Peter is
apart from the times when he didn't earlier in the game.
Yeah, but he's having in his highs, man, an incredible end here of the first half of the year. As BDD hiding on this brush here. They're looking for a play, lands on the flank.
Yeah, there's a curtain call to come through as well, and that is pinpoint onto BDD. Into this backline, the Seraph's shield not going to be enough for Hens. Will trade himself for it, and now Perfect is gonna chase down this Jhin. Doctom gonna grab a double kill by sniping him with that piercing arrow. And once again, NONGSHIM finding like a heroic play onto one person and then losing half of their team.
Yeah, Calyx making the play, has 3 kills now on this Yone, but is going to go down.
Yeah,
opportunistic there.
Yeah, it's like the one guy in the game where like everyone else running around with knives and he's got a flamethrower, and it's just a little bit unfair. That's what Perfect's making this game kind of feel like.
And like, in these types of moments, it looks like, okay, maybe there's an overextension here, but you can see what we were talking about in draft. Cuz goes for the subjugate right away here, so doesn't have it really for the later part of the fight, but it doesn't matter because Peter is so tanky, and look at how easy it is to play KT's comp. You just find target, delete target, and Peter is just like, all right, I'm looking for the play on Gideon now, let's take the jungler out. He dies for it, but it's 100% worth.
Flash as well.
Yeah. And then over here, it looks like Lehens has this really beautiful angle where you can collapse on with Calyx here. The ult comes out from the Jhin. Lehens goes in.
The immediate interruption as well with the pillar meant that the curtain call did nothing. It was really, one bullet, I think.
It was only one shot, and the setup was good. And then Geo just gets run down by Perfect, who's coming straight out of base and has Swifties and has Phase Rush, and you are just not going to get away from him. And then Calyx here, again, trying to make something of this. He does not have flash. It's coming up in like 10 seconds, we saw, but it's not there yet. Well, Ian is going for a play.
Perfect actually going to be respecting the Gwen here, waiting for that needlework to come down as the equalizer comes on through. There are 3 members of NONGSHIM here. They're still running away from a cow and a robot.
And here comes that Trundle. I think running away is the correct choice.
Yeah.
As Duckdom in the mid lane is just clearing this wave out. KT just don't have any holes in this game so far.
Not yet. As Ju going to look to see whether he can defend. Dancing Grenade going to be helping out. Seismic Shove, no crash down for you, Lehens, as the Chains of Corruption comes in. Peter able to headbutt him around, and Lehens nowhere to go. Aftershock not helping even a little bit, and the Otacon is going to be coming up in 7 seconds time. I don't know whether KT are going to head straight down there but I think they could if they felt like it.
I mean,
It's seeming like one of those games.
If it was an even game state and if there wasn't an interrupt, maybe Lehens has an angle there. Maybe there's a follow-up where the Jhin actually finds something out of the potential angle that Lehens was looking for there to potentially crash down Flash Magnet Storm. But KT just turn it on its head again. Are going to turn this into an Otacon. Contesting this will be a challenge.
Oh, Flash just going to get BDD out of there. Yep. And so Calyx shows himself on the top side of the map. That is going to mean that this Otacon does go down. Gideon tries his best, but it does not work out. And look at that. Just put a little kennel in the tri-brush, and you all walk away for free.
Yeah, no... No sort of trade back here, no exit kills, nothing, even with the composition that has such long-range follow-up as Gideon. I don't know about this, man.
I don't know about that one either. We get the zoom in onto Peter, who didn't get the headbutt down. That's okay, as Kingen, he's diving forward. The equalizer positioning on top of the kennel is gorgeous, but the Gwen is able to... But never mind! The piercing arrow as Doctor makes his presence known. It's a double kill for the Varus. And KT they just have every play read.
Yeah, it's every single moment, every single angle NONGSHIM think they have, and it gets tougher and tougher the further you fall behind. We're looking at 6-17. 23 kills in this game at 21 minutes in, and KT bounties are up, but good luck getting even a single one of those as Duckdom, the sniper, 7 kills on this Varus, is going to take out the mid turret. Bottom turret is defended. The only thing that NONGSHIM got in this game was a top turret and the Herald, basically, which didn't really give them much. They used the Herald to get like the last 20% of that top turret, and then they got the grubs, but there's been very little time for any of these players to actually hit a turret because they've just been behind the 8-ball this entire game. Every play they've made has been read from KT, as starting from Lehens' roam to the mid lane. It's just been read play after play, and yes, this play from Peter was kind of funny, but at the end of the day, trying to force into this choke point when the Rumble has his ultimate here is frankly a little foolish, I feel like, but NONGSHIM know that they're mostly thinking about game 2 at this point. Like, there's not much you're going to find here. Maybe if KT make a mistake, maybe if they don't play it right, maybe if it's a flub on the equalizer, maybe there's an angle, but KT aren't flubbing so far.
Yep. That equalizer was, I guess, a little bit of a flub, but I don't think Perfect needs it to kill King, and he indeed definitely does not. Him and Peter going to be easily able to take him down as the outer turret going to fall soon after. 18-6.
Maybe a bounty on the cards here?
Oh, potentially. Calyx there towards that bottom side. Utilizing those 3 grubs that they did manage to pick up feels like a distant memory here for NONGSHIM fans. And do you know where the cope comes from, Wolf?
Where?
The cope comes from talking about KT as a team. Yeah. And do you know what a beautifully played game like this means? That means that there are a lot of people at home thinking that KT are perhaps a very good team, which could be worrying for the next few games. In goes Peter, Seismic Shove gonna pull back Gideon. They are just, it's a hive mind for KT here as they set up the CC and take down the jungler. Now BDD looking to get rid of Kingen as well, and yeah, he is not getting out of that. Toasted and taken down. It's BDD with a double kill. They're going to look for an inner turret off the back end of it, and KT could take anything that they like. There is a soul on the table for this team if they would like it.
Cuz didn't even ult Gideon. He's like, well, he's caught, man. It's done. It's over. I don't even need to take his resistance away. I'll save it for something else.
Yep.
And, I mean, it's just systematic here. Calyx now zoned away, has to ult in exchange, and this turret is under fire here. Feels like KT have Baron with how much control they have over the map and how much siege they've been able to get done. They are going to be able to take this fourth, Chemtech Dragon here, the soul in this game. And I mean, you look at plays like this, and it's like King
Mega Cone.
He's just trying to farm, man. He's just trying to play the game. But Peter and Perfect say, no, you're not allowed.
Yep. And that was actually beautifully set up there from Peter.
And look at this, like you said, it's almost tool assisted. Like just the pillar there, Gideon just throws out his ult in frustration. As this TP here, unfortunately for King, it was optimistic at best, and BDD just instantly locks him in. Perfect is 100% on the same page as him, and KT, his team is looking good right now. And I mean, I feel like maybe D+ fans are feeling a little bit better about the 0-3 loss yesterday after watching this. Now, the draft here is insanely good for KT. Let's not mince words about that, but I feel like the play has backed it up, especially in this early game where NONGSHIM have been able to find no footholds.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the walk, talk the talk thing, right? They talk the talk in the draft, and we're like, yeah, that's pretty, yeah, we agree. And then now they're walking the walk, and they're looking real comfortable while they do it as well. They do manage to take the soul. That is Chemtech soul for Cuz. and so this Trundle will not be killed. I don't think, again, in this game, as Lehens will. He is looking to go down right about now. BDD at melee range with everyone, but he's so far ahead it does not matter. That's perfect down there coming from the enemy base, and so that is going to spell a Baron for KT, and I don't think that there's going to be any answer.
None.
Baron just spawned 5 seconds ago. KT are going to look to remove it from the rift.
He has TP, but where's he going to go? I mean, look at all the vision they have. Now, I want to talk about something here really interesting. You mentioned it, and I think it was a really good call out. This almost could have been blind pick for these two teams, right? In terms of what they love to play, what they've been playing leading up to this game.
I mean, it definitely looked blind pick for NONGSHIM.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like, they ended up getting completely countered and destroyed by KT in this draft, but they're also playing some of their best champions, and that means all of these champions are gone for the rest of this best of 5. It was an expensive choice for NONGSHIM to get their comfort into a, frankly, kind of counter draft here from KT, and they're not going to have that coming into game 2. They're not going to have Calix's Yone anymore. No Gideon on the Sejuani, and that's what's more concerning for the implications of what happens later in this series as well. KT with such a start.
Yeah, I would agree. A 1-0, especially with a win on red side, it is such a big deal. Even if NONGSHIM win a game back in the series, it means that KT gets to go over to blue that they have looked a little bit better on. It was, in fact, they managed to win on red side in the tiebreaker, but it was blue traded for blue. Those were the stomps, right? Game 1, KT being able to bring themselves over the line against DK, the most important game in the series yesterday. So KT now on red looking this dominant really does show. Like, it's a 9,000 gold lead. This is just kind of absurd. And just to try and bring us back down to earth, because we are sort of riding the momentum of this game, which is dangerous because it's KT. There is someone in chat, Set. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, it's just draft if. Any team would win with red side draft. Nothing special from KT. And that is the kind of energy I want to see from all of you guys. That's what we need to hold close.
Yeah, it's not like BDD is playing Talia that he's really good at, or Perfect playing his best champion Rumble that took away from Kingen. Kingen went for the Gwen or anything like that. No. It's just anyone would have won. It could have been me, Atlas.
It's not going to be Lehens. Lehens just walked over 1 million wards and is now probably in trouble. Cuz is just walking away from everyone. He's down to 50% health though. Might need to subjugate that one back. As the wall goes down, the shove connects onto Gideon and he is just eliminated. Equalizer to stop anyone from escaping. Kingen gonna go down. There is the heroic play from Calix into the back line. It looked really cute. It looked really cool. But ultimately he dies and this is gonna be the ace for KT. Perfect. Might be dying for the first time, but never mind. There's a pillar. There's a pulverize. There is a cow in pajamas. And KT are looking for game 1.
That is the end of that, Atlas. 12,000 goal lead at the end. A sub-28-minute game here, faster than average, and KT making it look easy. They're 4th.